I think we have all heard the phrase defense wins championships when talking about football. Whether it's from your grandpa or from a random guy on TV, it is a common phrase. But is this actually true or not? In today's video, I'm going to go all the way back to 2018 and test whether you are going to be a better team if you have the best defense in the NFL or the best offense in the NFL. In addition, I'll go over the Super Bowl winners over the past 25 years and see, is it truly better to have a good offense or a good defense? Before I get into it, please consider liking and subscribing. I think it might grow the channel or it might not, but you might as well try. Now, here we go. For the first portion of this video, I'll go back to 2018, starting with last year, 2024. So the best offense in the NFL was the Detroit Lions. You probably remember them, truly an electric offense. And then the best defense in the NFL was actually the Los Angeles Chargers. And you may say, hey, how are you testing who's the best offense or defense in the NFL? Well, I think it is quite simple. How do you win a football game? You score more points than the opponent. Well, that's pretty much how I'm testing it. The most points per game and then the least points per game given up in the NFL. So anyways, the Lions ended up 15-2 and the Chargers ended up 11-6. That's not it. How did they do in the playoffs? Well, they each lost their first game. The Chargers lost the wild card game, Lions lost the divisional round, but each of them lost their first game. In 2023, the Cowboys had the #1 offense and the Ravens had the #1 defense. This went the other way around. The Ravens went 13-4, Cowboys went 12-5. And there was even some postseason success for one of these teams. I'll let you guess, but it's not the Cowboys. The Cowboys lost in the wild card round. The Ravens made it all the way to the conference championship round where they lost to the Chiefs. Is it really losing if you lose to the Chiefs? Yes, it still is, but it's reasonable. Then in 2022, finally, the Chiefs made it. They had the best offense in the NFL in 2022. They went 14-3. And then the best defense in the NFL was the 49ers. They went 13-4. Chiefs won the Super Bowl. 49ers made it to the conference championship. Good season by both pretty clearly. Then in 2021, the Cowboys again, best offense. They went 12-5. Of course, they lost in the wild card. The Bills had the best defense, went 11-6, made it to the divisional round, and lost. So far, it is 3-1 for the regular season record. However, when you compare the playoff records, the defensive team does better. So maybe offense wins championships in the regular season and defense in the playoffs. But we'll see. 2020. Now we're going back in time a little bit. This was the Packers with Aaron Rodgers. 13-3, best offense in the NFL, made it to the conference championship game. The Rams had the best defense in the NFL, made it to the divisional round. So, of course, better offense worked out there. Doesn't hurt that you had Aaron Rodgers. In 2019, the Ravens had the best offense. They went 14-2, made it to the divisional round. The Patriots had the best defense, made it to the wild card rounds. So pretty clearly the offense was better this year. And then finally the Chiefs had the best offense once again. They made it to the conference championship game. They went 12-4. The Bears also went 12-4 and they lost in the double doink game wild card round to the Eagles. So that's enough little random data. What can we tell from it? Well, in 5 of the 7 years, the better offense had a better regular season record. But in the playoffs, it is a little closer, but the offense still won 4-3 when accounted for who made it further into the playoffs. So, small sample size, what's better? Offense, I guess. However, you will notice there's only one Super Bowl team on this list, so having the best offense or the best defense in the NFL will pretty clearly not just guarantee you a Super Bowl win or even a Super Bowl appearance. It won't even guarantee you make it out of the wild card round. It does appear to guarantee you make it to the playoffs, but you'll just lose like the Cowboys. So that led me to change up the search a little bit. So now I'm looking at the Super Bowl champions from the past 25 years. And did they have a better offense or defense? Now, of course, I think we all know most Super Bowl winners have a good offense and a good defense. For example, the 2017 Eagles had the number 3 ranked offense and the number 4 ranked defense. That type of team just kind of wins the Super Bowl. So over the past 25 years, there have been 14 instances of a team either having a worse than top 10 offense or a worse than top 10 defense, who then went on to win the Super Bowl. And funnily enough, 7 of those were having a worse offense than the top 10, and 7 were having a worse defense than the top 10. And you don't even have to look that far back. It's not like, oh, the early 2000s was different football. Well, yes, it was. There were a string of bad offenses winning Super Bowls, such as the Buccaneers, the Patriots a few times, the Steelers, the Giants. All those teams were outside the top 10 and won the Super Bowl, mainly through an amazing defense. Lots of number 1 defenses out there. However, you just had to look back the past 3 years to see this full picture. Of course, there was this year where the Eagles were top 10 in both, but in 2023, the Chiefs had the 15th ranked offense and the number 2 ranked defense. In 2022, they had the number 1 ranked offense and the number 16 ranked defense. It just, both of these sides matter even today. So while yes, it does appear both offense and defense does matter some, exactly how much does it matter? Are there any instances where not only is it not a top 10 offense or defense, but not a top half of the league, not a top 16? And the answer surprisingly is yes. So you had to look back a ways. The first one was the Broncos in 2015. If you remember, this was the Peyton Manning year where Peyton Manning could no longer throw the football. However, they had an amazing defense. Somehow it wasn't the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL, even though in the playoffs it sure felt like it. This was the 19th best offense and the 4th best defense. So if you have a good enough defense and maybe a quarterback who can make some clutch plays but is old and can't keep it up for long, that is good enough to win a Super Bowl. To look back further, the time before that when it happened was the Giants, the 2011 Giants. They were the 25th ranked defense somehow. And then they were the 9th ranked offense. And this is what we like to call a miracle, because the Giants just know how to beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, because the defense did not play anything like the 25th ranked defense in the Super Bowl. They just had Tom Brady's number, and they really got hot at the end of the season. That's some special circumstances where you have to look into it. In this 2011 season and the few years before, it was actually a string of teams with below average offenses or defense winning the Super Bowl. For example, just before in 2009, the number 1 ranked Saints offense carried the number 20 ranked Saints defense to win the Super Bowl. The year before that, the Steelers had the 20th ranked offense but the 1st ranked defense. And before that, the Giants had the 17th ranked defense and the 14th ranked offense. Once again, the Giants somehow just stumbled their way into Super Bowls and Super Bowl victories. And then finally, in 2006, the Colts had the number 2 ranked offense but the number 23 ranked defense. So essentially, I've given you all these numbers, all these different data points to say there's no one way to win the Super Bowl, no one way to be a great team. You can have a great defense and win. You can have a great offense and win. You can have a great offense and defense and win, probably the easiest way. But the most important thing is you have to get hot in the playoffs, and you can't really predict that ahead of time unless you're the Chiefs or the Patriots several years ago, where you just were kind of guaranteed to play well in the playoffs. The other most important part is just not having injuries, no key injuries late in the season to let you make it throughout the playoffs. But as far as the saying, does defense win championships? The answer, I think undisputedly, is yes. But so does offense. What do you think? Leave your comments down in the comment section down below. Subscribe for more NFL videos, and I'll see you later.